Hello friends, and welcome to a brand new camera comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra against the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Right now we are recording at 4K 30 frames per second. Tell me in the comment section below which one do you think has better colors and which one has a better audio.
As per usual, let's start with some samples taken with their main cameras, but first let me clarify the testing process for the new viewers. Every daylight picture is taken in auto mode with Scene Optimizer enabled, but all the other AI or beauty filters are off. I also try to have identical angles with both phones. With regular daylight shots nowadays, every flagship takes great pictures, and these two in particular are some of the best devices in the industry when it comes to camera quality. Although both are really good, there are some differences in processing, so let's break them down. For the most part, the iPhone 15 Pro Max takes pictures with natural colors, while the S24 Ultra is a lot more vibrant, and to be honest, it looks ready to be posted in social media. Both implementations are great, but personally in this case I prefer vivid picture of the Galaxy. The S24 Ultra is also quite a bit sharper. If we look at the grass for example, we can see that the iPhone has a natural sharpness while the Ultra is a bit more aggressive, but both implementations are quite good. When it comes to colors, once again I prefer the Galaxy, but the iPhone is great too, just different. Both devices are equipped with ultra-wide cameras, and as expected they have identical colors with their main lenses. This shows consistency between the cameras. Both continue to be unique in their own way, like, for example, the iPhone has a better sky rendition while the trees look better on the Galaxy. In this next scene the difference in color is huge, and at first glance the Galaxy looks a lot better, but when we go into the details, we can notice that it is way too saturated, while the iPhone, even though it is a little bit dull, it is doing better by showing how the scene was in real life. This isn't always the right way, since in this next scene the iPhone is much darker while the Galaxy is better with the shadow areas. All the trees are much more visible on the S24 Ultra, and even the buildings and the sky look better on that device. Because the main cameras on these devices are so good, they can take pictures at 2x without losing quality. At this zoom range both are very sharp with excellent colors and dynamic range. The Ultra is more vibrant while the iPhone is natural. At 3x the S24 Ultra switches to its first telephoto camera while the iPhone crops in with the main lens. Surprisingly, the 15 Pro Max is keeping up well with the S24 Ultra, even though here we are comparing digital with optical zoom. In this next shot I noted that the S24 Ultra is actually sharper, but the iPhone 15 Pro Max doesn't look bad at all. But at the end of the day, it is better to have optical zoom rather than digital. At 5x both devices take pictures with their periscope cameras, and the results are just stunning. On the 15 Pro Max this lens is known to take amazing pictures, and based on these results I am happy to report that the 5x lens on the S24 Ultra seems to be just as good if not better. The Galaxy is also sharper compared to the 15 Pro Max. The periscope camera on the S24 Ultra is displaying more details compared to the iPhone even in this next scene, but the latter isn't bad at all. In terms of colors, the Galaxy has a cooler tone while the iPhone is warmer. What about pictures taken at 10x? Well, at this zoom range the S24 Ultra is much better than the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I was initially scared that the S24 Ultra won't perform as good as its predecessors at 10x, but after testing it for myself I am convinced it is better. The iPhone isn't doing bad on its own, and many people would consider its pictures more than acceptable, but honestly there is no competition with the S24 Ultra, which is much sharper and better. Both phones can also do macro pictures, and once again both do a fantastic job. Besides, when I have to test this feature on particular phones, I don't really take macro photos, but as you can see these two are doing just fine with the S24 Ultra being more detailed. When it comes to portraits in this particular scene, although both are good, I prefer the S24 Ultra since my face is more visible and well differentiated from the background, while on the iPhone the entire image has a similar color tone. With these next portraits you can see that they are a bit darker, but considering that they were taken from inside the ship while I was outside makes me appreciate them even more, since it was a very difficult scene to take pictures. The phones had to focus through a small window and both performed great. Portraits taken with their telephoto cameras are even better. Although it was a windy day and my hair was all around the place, they were able to keep most of it in focus. Some part of my hair is blurred, but considering the circumstances they are fantastic. The S24 Ultra in particular is very impressive. Switching to the front cameras, and here both phones are doing great with details, but when it comes to skin color the iPhone 15 Pro Max is a bit ahead compared to the S24 Ultra. The latter on the other hand is doing much better with the dynamic range, since as you can see part of the sky is blown out on the iPhone. The Galaxy S24 Ultra is sharper compared to the iPhone when it comes to face details, but just like previous years it isn't doing as good with skin color. It isn't bad but doesn't quite display my face how I look in real life, although it is much better than previous years. When recording with their main cameras we can see that the S24 Ultra is almost at the same level as the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Sure, the iPhone is still a bit better, but the gap is very narrow now. I didn't use 8K on the Ultra because the dynamic range isn't as good and because most people just record at 4K. With their ultra-wide cameras the difference is slightly bigger in favor of the iPhone, since it is showing more pleasing colors and the sky looks more refined. Besides that, the details and stabilization seem to be similar if not identical. The iPhone is slightly wider, but this isn't a big deal. Videos at 5x are simply amazing on both devices. I was here on a sailing ship recording another ship and the stabilization on them is fantastic. Genuinely both are really good and I can't pick a winner. The S24 Ultra is really impressive since the 10x of previous years wasn't that stable. Moving to low light, and from now on every picture is taken with night mode enabled with auto seconds. Just like in daylight with these samples I noticed that my face looks more natural on the iPhone, but most of my face details have been preserved on the Galaxy. In tougher situations the difference becomes a lot bigger in favor of the S24 Ultra. As you can see my face is much sharper on the Ultra while the iPhone is losing ground quite a bit and the entire picture is very messy. Switching back to their rear cameras, and here you can see these magnificent images of the Bosphorus Bridge in Istanbul. There are some slight differences in colors, but honestly, they are almost perfect. Their similarities continue even in this next scene, and just like earlier both are great with plenty of details. If you look closely at the lights on the pool and on the left side of the building you can see that they are crushed on the iPhone while they are preserved well on the S24 Ultra. In places where the light sources aren't in the frame both are similar if not identical. These samples just show how far we've come with smartphone photography, and today everyone can take great pictures without needing to buy a professional camera. The iPhone 15 Pro Max is surely one of the best for taking night shots, but the S24 Ultra surpasses it by offering more pleasing pictures without losing the night ambience. With their ultra-wide cameras they continue to have consistency, and once again the picture taken with the S24 Ultra is a bit more pleasing for the eyes, but at the same time it is a bit brighter, so if you prefer more subtle images then the iPhone is more for you. In this next scene the sky looks a bit better on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but at the same time the sea isn't as sharp as on the S24 Ultra, which is simply amazing. The lights on the bridge are also better handled on the Ultra. The ultra-wide camera of the iPhone 15 Pro Max isn't really at the same level as the S24 Ultra, which is in my opinion the best in the industry. The differences aren't always clear, but the Ultra is constantly sharper and better optimized. Compared to daylight where the iPhone was able to keep its own, at low light it isn't doing as good of a job compared to the S24 Ultra, which is sharper and the light sources continue to be more on check. The 3x lens on the S24 Ultra is actually the weakest camera of this device, and in terms of colors it isn't as good as the main lens of the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but in terms of details it is better since optical zoom is better than digital. At 5x both are exceptional. As you can see, these pictures are very sharp, but surprisingly the iPhone is brighter than the S24 Ultra, which I prefer in this case. I also don't like the yellowish tone of the iPhone. In the next scene at the iconic Galata Tower, it is the S24 Ultra now with the brighter image. If you look at the top, you can see the roof is more visible compared to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. At 10x, both decrease in quality, but the iPhone does it at a bigger rate, and although they have similar colors here, the picture taken with the 15 Pro Max has a lot more noise. In this next sample, the colors of the S24 Ultra are much more pleasing for the eyes and the entire image is sharper. The iPhone is clearly losing ground here, but this is to be expected since the 5x lens of the S24 Ultra can take 10x pictures without losing much details. Portraits taken at night are also really good on both phones. They are able to utilize night mode even with portraits, that's why I look bright and in focus on both devices. They are similar in many ways, but also different with their own unique style. Personally, I can't pick a winner, so I'll let you tell me in which one I look better. Even with their telephoto cameras, portraits come out impressive, but this time I lean more towards the iPhone 15 Pro Max, although the S24 Ultra is almost just as good. I do, however, prefer how my face is utilized on the iPhone. So guys, what do you think? Which one was your winner? Personally, I don't think there is a clear winner in this comparison since both phones performed well in every category, but I can't hide the fact that the S24 Ultra won in more scenes. If you did enjoy this video, then please consider subscribing to my channel since these videos take a lot of effort. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.